Let me just tell everyone we're going to start. Okay?
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkivenu, Leshalom. Bahamidenu, Shomreinu Lechaim. Ufros Aleinu, Sukkot Shlomecha. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkivenu, L'Shalom. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storm.
Shabbat Shalom. Good Shabbos to everyone. It's still Shabbat until we do Havdalah momentarily. It's so nice to see all of you both here in person and those of you watching from home remotely. I know of several people who said they're going to be watching tonight on this very hot and smoky Napa Valley day. I'm happy that we're all gathered on this day known as Selichot. It's not really a day, it's an experience. And I don't really want to call it a service. In modern Hebrew, if you bump into someone on the street, you say slachli, which means pardon me or excuse me. Selichot is the plural of that same word. So Selichot, which usually occurs the Saturday about a week before Rosh Hashanah, about a week before the start of the Days of Awe, is a time traditionally of forgiveness, of saying, slachli, pardon me, forgive me for the misdeeds of this past year. Again, preparing us to get in the right kavanah, the right intention, the right mindset for the days of awe, as we do the entire month of Elul, leading up to the High Holy Days. The rabbis really liked long, drawn-out ways of preparing for Jewish holidays. But as I talked about a few days ago, and I know some of you were here when we had a High Holy Day preparation session, while traditionally the focus of this time of year is often on what we've done wrong, on atonement, on forgiveness, on contrition, sometimes even on beating ourselves up for all the mistakes we've made in the past. What I wanted to focus on a little bit more tonight and this year was less on tshuva, the Hebrew word for repentance, and more on shlemut, the Hebrew word for wholeness or oneness. I mentioned how some people look at the word atonement and interpret it instead as at one-ment. So Yom Kippur is not a time to beat ourselves up. It's a time to come together as a community and as we look within ourselves. So I'm not going to repeat everything I said earlier in the week, but tonight, as we observe Havdalah, as Gordon and I offer a little music and some poetry, the theme that I want to focus on this Selichot is more on the idea of shlemut, more on the idea of wholeness, how we make ourselves whole, how we make our community whole, how we achieve shalom, how we achieve tranquility, peace within ourselves. And then when we invite up our guest, who I'll introduce momentarily, Stuart Eisendrath, and we have our guided meditation, I hope that will help to guide you through the experience. I don't want us to beat ourselves up, especially after the last year or two that we've had. I really think that these days of awe should be a time of coming together, of wholeness and of healing. I know that's what I need during this new year of 5782. So we're going to start now with Havdalah. I have the set up here. Gordon will do the music. Just relax, stay in your seats. And if you know the blessings, the brachot, I invite you to please join along with us.
Lie, 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 lie. Yeah, lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Yeah, lie, 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 lie. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech haolam, Borei peri hagafen, Borei peri hagafen. Yai lai 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 lai. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech haolam. Borei minei besami, Borei minei sesami. Yai lai 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 lai. Ya la 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 la. Lai 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 lai. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu מלך העולם. אורי מאורי האש, אורי מאורי האש. Lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 lai, lai 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 lai. Amadil ben Kodesh lachor. Amavdil ben Kodesh lachor. Amavdil ben Kodesh, Kodesh lachor. Chatoteinu yimchor. Zareinu v'chaspenu yarbechacho. V'chacho kavim balayla. Shavua tov, Shavua tov, Shavua tov, Shavua tov. Shavua tov, Shavua tov, Shavua tov, Shavua tov. A good week, a week of peace. May gladness reign and joy increase. A good week, a week of peace. May gladness reign and joy increase. Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishmi, Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu Hagiladi, Bimera v'yamenu, Yavo Eleinu, Imashiach ben David, Imashiach ben David, Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishmi, Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu Hagiladi.
Shavua Tov. I want to read a poem. This is a book called The Enlightened Heart. It's an anthology of sacred poetry from the Jewish tradition, from other traditions. And the poems are translated into English by a Jewish poet named Stephen Mitchell. Some of you may have read some of his work. He's done extensive translations of the poet Rainer Maria Rilke, but he's also done some beautiful translations of biblical poetry. So I'm going to read part of a translation of his. It's a loose translation of Psalm 19 that I thought was appropriate for tonight, for Selichot. God's universe is perfect, awing the mind. God's truth is subtle, baffling the intellect. God's law is complete, quickening the breath. God's compassion is fathomless, refreshing the soul. God's justice is absolute, lighting up the eyes. God's love is radiant, rejoicing the heart. More precious than the finest gold, sweeter than honey from the comb. Help me to be aware of my selfishness, but without undue shame or self-judgment. Let me always feel you present in every atom of my life. Let me keep surrendering myself until I am utterly transparent. Let my words be rooted in honesty and my thoughts be lost in your light. Unnameable God, my essence, my origin, my lifeblood, my home. Gordon?
Though we all have been hurt, though we all have hurt each other, let us all forgive. Let us all be forgiven. Though we all have caused pain in our words to one another, let us all forgive. Let us all be forgiven. Salach lanu, mechal lanu, kaper, kaper lanu. Salach lanu, mechal lanu, kaper, kaper lanu. Though we all have regret for the words that we have spoken, let us all forgive. Let us all be forgiven. Let now be the time to repair what has been broken. Let us all forgive. Let us all be forgiven. Salach lanu, mechol lanu, kaper, kaper lanu. Salach lanu, mechol lanu, kaper, kaper lanu. For the gates are always open. For the gates are always open. We can do that together if you feel like singing. For the gates, for the gates. Okay, let me sing it right and then you can do it with me. For the gates are always open. 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 There's more. Should I keep going? You want to hear more? You've had enough? Save it for later? Okay.
You're a singing fool. You could go on for hours.
Well, there's
right?
more verses.
Well, we'll hear more later.
Okay.
Thank you. It's a beautiful. Does everyone recognize what this song is rooted in? What the original prayer is from the High Holy Days, Charles? Yeah, well, Slach Lanu, Kaper Lanu, Nechal Lanu, and it's said in a beautiful contemporary way. So, I mentioned at the outset that tshuva, repentance, contrition, is a very traditional and key theme of the High Holy Days. But tonight and this year, I'd like us to also think about another concept rooted in the High Holy Days, which is shlemut, inner peace, centering, wholeness. And I can't think of a better person to help us to experience, not just think about, not just talk about it, but to experience that idea of shlemut than Stuart Eisendrath. 3 years ago, Stuart came here on Selichot, led us in a guided meditation with some discussion afterwards. It was really a wonderful program, and we wanted to do it again. And of course, COVID hit, and we're trying to do it again this year, even though it's a hybrid model. But Stuart has spent many years both studying and practicing meditation, and the role that meditation can play in terms of achieving peace, achieving healing, helping us through trauma, and I think specifically depression, correct? Stuart is a professor at University of San Francisco. What's your status now? Emeritus. Emeritus professor, even better. It means you don't have to work. An emeritus professor at University of San Francisco, a psychiatrist, and he wrote a book about this research a few years ago, a wonderful book about this connection between meditation and healing, and meditation and coping with depression. Stuart's going to come up and guide us in a meditation tonight, and then we're going to talk about it a little bit. Gordon and I will come and sit with everybody else. And my hope is that as a result of this short exercise, we may achieve a little taste of Shlemut and be able to bring that experience with us on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, and hopefully through the rest of the year. So Stuart, would you come up?
Right. Well, thanks for having me, Rabbi, and inviting me back. It's an honor to be here. And thank you, all brave souls, for coming out in this weather. I'm going to lead a meditation that has several different components to it, and I think you'll be able to see some of the progression and how it applies to the days of awe and of finding some peace. Particularly as we go through a period of introspection, how we can bring some self-compassion to the process. So to start with, if you'll get yourself comfortable in your chairs, both feet on the floor and settled in, and if you feel comfortable, you can gently sit there, feeling the contact points that your body makes with the floor, with the chair, with the arms of the chair. Just settle into the present moment and let go of the hubbub of the week that's been going on. And if you feel comfortable, you can slowly let your eyes drift shut. If you prefer, you can keep your eyes open, but just gaze softly in front of you. And then beginning with the breath. The breath is really the center of most meditations. In a sense, as we practice with Yom Kippur and the high holidays, the process of coming to an miniature end of life, in a sense of practice for an end of life. Each breath kind of mimics this. With each breath in, it's a new renewal of life, and each breath out is an expiration of life. So you can begin by focusing on your breath and focusing on it moving in and out through your nostrils. Feeling the sensations of the breath moving in and out. Feeling the air currents of the breath as they move in and out. Then you can expand further to feeling the breath as it moves into the lungs and chest, and those areas expand with each in-breath in, with each renewal of life, with each breath in. Now, as you're focusing on your breath, you'll probably notice that your mind wanders. And that's perfectly okay. That's what minds do. You're not doing anything wrong if your mind wanders. You're just doing what minds do. So you may wander to a thought about the past or a thought about the future. But once you notice yourself doing this, congratulate yourself on noticing that your mind has wandered. Perhaps it wanders to a bodily sensation somewhere that you feel an urge to scratch or whatever. A thought, a sensation, wherever you notice your mind has wandered, congratulate yourself, let it go, and bring the attention back to the object of attention, the breath. This is what meditation is really about. It's noticing the mind has wandered and then gently escorting the attention back to the breath. Now, you won't stop having thoughts or feelings that come up that your mind wanders to. That's perfectly normal. In a sense, what the meditation is about, I liken it to you're walking down a street somewhere in a town that has storefronts on the street. And without meditation, there's a tendency to go into the store and purchase the thoughts and feelings that are present in the store and get involved with them. But with meditation, it's slightly different. It's actually walking down the street and noticing the thoughts, for example, in the store window, noticing those thoughts, maybe troublesome thoughts, but not going in to buy the thoughts, just walking on down. The thoughts don't go away, they're still there, but you can view them with more distance, with the sense of being decentered from those thoughts, distant from the thoughts, so you can observe them more objectively. And whenever you notice your mind wandering, you can gently come back to the breath. And now we'll shift to a different approach in dealing with thoughts and feelings, this time one of loving kindness. This is partly what is so important in these days of awe, of being able to bring compassion to ourselves and others. Rather than harshness or punitiveness, bringing a sense of compassion. And the way we do this is practicing the loving kindness meditation, where you can begin by imagining yourself seeing somebody who's very much brings a smile to your face and you have a warm feeling about. Maybe a child or a grandchild or even a pet, a favorite pet. Something or someone that brings a smile to your face. And noticing that sensation of love and warmth in your heart towards that child, towards that object. And then repeating these phrases. And as you repeat them, sending out that sense of warmth along with each of the phrases. May you be safe. May you be healthy. May you be happy. May you live a life with ease. then shifting again, this time picking out some person who's in your life who's a more neutral, a less favored person, a more neutral person, and sending out the loving kindness to that person. May you be safe. May you be healthy. May you be happy. May you live a life with ease. And shifting again to someone who you don't care for, somebody less than neutral, but somebody in your life who you deal with and have had some issues with, perhaps, even in some small way. But bringing that sense of compassion and love towards them by repeating the phrases, may you be safe, may you be healthy, may you be happy, may you live a life with ease. And finally, bringing the focus of your loving kindness to yourself, so that loving kindness, that warmth, that heartfelt feeling, you direct towards yourself. May I be safe. May I be healthy. May I be happy. May I live a life with ease. And shifting once again back to the breath, moving in and out of the nostrils. Noticing those air currents. Perhaps noticing that the air coming out of the nostrils with each exhalation is a bit warmer because it comes from the core of your body than the air moving in through the nostrils. Just noticing the breath, moving in and out. And whenever you're ready, you can gently and peacefully bring your attention back to the room. Well, would anybody like to say what that experience was like for you? Relaxing. Okay. Was there any particular part of it that you found most relaxing? Thank you. Anybody else?
Stuart, for me, just like it was 3 years ago, like it's always been when I try to meditation, it's hard. It's just hard to keep that focus, it's hard to keep that attention. The mind is just always wandering.
Well, that's what our minds really do. I mean, many people have the misconception that meditation is locking your attention in on something and not having it wander, and that an experienced meditator will be able to do that. That actually is completely false. Even the most experienced Buddhist monk has mind wandering. So you're not alone. Did anybody notice any difference in directing the loving kindness towards the range of objects? Was it easier or harder with one or another? Thank you. You're sitting there. Thank you, Gordon. You're sitting there doing one activity and your mind is somewhere else and you're not even aware of how much it's gone or of how much those thoughts are affecting your mood, quite possibly. So it's a good exercise for taking a look at that. You're wondering if there's an interest in that? I don't know, that'd be something to discuss.
We'll have to see.
Yeah, possibly. And if you are interested, if you'll send me an email, that would probably be good just to get an idea of how much interest there is.
If I can just ask one final question before we wrap up the evening with a song, unless there's anything else. A lot of your research was on the relationship between meditation and people dealing with depression. Is that right? And could you tell us just in layman's terms, What is it about meditation? Because I think a lot of people, after the year and a half that we've had, or the last several years that we've had, are in desperate need of healing. A lot of people are depressed. A lot of people feel cut off from others, and are just sickened by what they see around them in the world and here in this country. How can meditation help us specifically in terms of dealing with depression, anxiety, and just the general feeling of negativity about life?
Well, meditation is really a powerful tool that it isn't just, nice words and talking about things and so on. But when we looked at people who were depressed, we actually measured their brain function before and after going through an 8-week course with functional MRIs. And when a person is depressed, certain areas of the brain are hypoactive. I won't go into all the details here, but if anybody's interested, I'll be happy to talk to you afterwards. But in certain areas of the brain are not functioning as they normally should be. And after 8 weeks of meditation, we were able to show that those areas of the brain came back online with 8 weeks of learning meditation. So it was a pretty powerful demonstration that it isn't just talking about things, but when you start to focus your attention, focus your concentration, it actually changes things within your brain. So it can restore the areas that were not functioning very well with anxiety or depression.
Thank you. And that brings us back to a traditional Jewish concept, and one very relevant to the High Holy Days, which is tshuva, which doesn't only mean repentance. It can also mean return or renewal or restoration. And I really appreciate you helping to guide us, helping us to get a taste of what that might be like. The concept I mentioned earlier was shlemut, or wholeness, or inner peace. You have definitely helped me a little bit in terms of what my goals are going to be this year during the Days of Awe, and I'm sure you've helped others as well. So thank you, and Deborah, for coming here tonight and for helping us to observe Selichot in a slightly non-traditional way that I think our community is very interested in. So thank you. We're going to conclude with a final song. Gordon?
Hashivenu, Hashivenu, Adonai Elecha, Ben Ashuva, Kadesh, Kadesh, Yameinu Kekeren, Ashivenu, Ashivenu, Adonai Elecha, Ben Ashuva, Ben Ashuva, Kadesh, Kadesh, Yameinu Kikeden. return to the land of your soul. Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. Return to who you are, return to what you are, return to where you are, born and reborn again. Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul.
May we all return to the land of our soul during these days of awe. Thank you, Gordon. Thank you again, Stuart, and thanks to all of you for being with us. Shavua Tov.